Today, there's a fancy new look for the PS5. If you consider the Mall Ninja aesthetic fancy, this is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where it may be Sonic's 30th anniversary, but it's also been 11 years and 4 months of CheckPoint.
That doesn't seem like a notable anniversary?
No, but we're treating it with the same reverence as Sonic's 30th.
So not at all.
Correct.
Brace yourself. The Xbox Series X and S have a new noise suppression feature for voice chat. But wait, you say, isn't that good? Won't it take out gamepad clicks and typing noises and your cat yowling in the background because it's been 10 minutes since he was last fed? Yes, all of that. But you know what else it will eliminate? ASMR noises. Breathy chuckles. Haughty huffs. That little smack that someone's lips make when you crush their dreams in multiplayer. Those noises. I thought we liked those noises. I like those noises. What I don't like is the racism and the bigotry. Where's the filter for that?
Because everything is happening always and forever, you would be forgiven for forgetting that Microsoft is still trying to buy Activision Blizzard. But indeed, that is still going on as Microsoft navigates the various regulatory approvals required to actually finalize the purchase. A big concern for Sony in all of this is Call of Duty, the money-spinning franchise that has enjoyed multi-platform releases for 20 years now. And initially it sounded questionable, with Microsoft only willing to commit that Call of Duty would continue to appear on PlayStation for the duration of the existing agreement between Activision and Sony. But last week, in speaking to The Verge, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer confirmed that they had in fact agreed to continue releasing Call of Duty on PlayStation for, quote, at least several more years beyond the current Sony contract, continuing that this was, quote, an offer that goes well beyond typical gaming industry agreements, which is incredibly benevolent of Microsoft. Or at least it was meant to sound like that, because speaking to GamesIndustry.biz, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan had his own thoughts on the deal, opening with, quote, I hadn't intended to comment on what I understood to be a private business discussion, but I feel the need to set the record straight because Phil Spencer brought this into the public forum. Ryan explained that Microsoft's offer, which is not set in stone, was only for 3 years, not at least several, as Spencer claimed, and even this was, quote, inadequate on many levels and failed to take account of the impact on our gamers. Strong words there from Jim Ryan, who didn't want to bring this into a public forum, but who definitely benefits from it being discussed in a public forum. It's doubtful this is going to scupper the Activision Blizzard purchase, but it might cost one or more corporations more money, which is about as close as we can get to a win for the common people these days, so we'll take it.
Did you know that during the Wii era, we might have got a Zelda game that didn't star Link, Zelda, or almost anyone else from the mainstream Zelda series? And did you know that Retro Studios was working on that game? And did you know that the prototype gameplay was essentially a worse version of some warmed-over wolf shit whack-a-mole? Well, Did You Know Gaming has done a great investigative video on this unreleased Zelda game, recovering some astounding art assets from an artist's defunct blog, and contacting so many RetroX employees for info, some of whom actually talked to him. It's reported that Retro Studio heads were very bullish on the game, but when they showed it to Nintendo during a pitch meeting, the reaction was, seriously, you're pitching that? And that was the last they would ever hear of that. Except, there is another. Heroes of Hyrule was another prototype Retro was working on, and since Did You Know Gaming is working on another video just for that, I'm not going to elaborate any further. And not because I refuse to do any journalism of my own.
Sony may have upped the price for the PS5 in basically every territory that isn't the USA, but it's not like they aren't still innovating since they've released a new model of the console. Okay, not like a totally new model like the PS4 Slim or something, but a new revision of the existing hardware. To catch you up, the launch models of the PS5 all had serial numbers that started with 1000. Then they made some minor changes and released the slightly lighter 1100 series last year, whereas the new 1200 series are not only lighter again with smaller internal components, but apparently the 1200 series draws 20 to 30 watts less power, making it more efficient and cheaper to run. Currently, you can only buy it in Australia, but of course that assumes you can find one anywhere. Hopefully the new components will make the system easier for Sony to produce, but for now, Australia gets to have the fun thing for a change. And this autumn, we all get to have something fun if you think drab camouflage is fun. Adding to their current lineup of colorful plates and accessories comes Grey Camo. Not sure why Sony decided this should be their next customization treatment, but I guess if someone breaks into your modern apartment with the current trendy all-gray paint job, they won't see your PS5? You see this? This is the current equivalent of the mono beige look from the 90s. Stop doing it. In fact, I would rather a series of PlayStation accessories in mid-90s computer plastic beige, just for the retro vibes. At least you'd be able to find it.
Valve's Steam Deck has been extended in a neat little way where you can plug in a second monitor via USB-C cable and emulate the dual-screen excitement of Nintendo's Wii U and DS consoles. This also includes the 3DS, but I have no idea if the 3D even works because, frankly, I didn't spend a lot of time reading the docs on the fan site Steam Deck HQ, and also I can't see in 3 dimensions. I'm finding this a little weird because, well, the Wii U lasted about 4 years because a lot of you didn't want to buy it, right? And usually you don't buy a console because there aren't any games in it that anyone wants to play. And I can't believe that's true because A, Nintendo just keeps slowly moving Wii U games onto the Switch and selling tons of them, and B, this literal story about people wanting to emulate these games in the Steam Deck as opposed to just playing them on the original console. And surely it couldn't be a cost consideration since the Wii U is available on eBay for about $200 and a Steam Deck is like $500 eventually when my reservation arrives. So I guess it's more for playing DS and 3DS games on the go since those consoles are even harder to come by right now. Except then you're either playing on a desktop monitor, which locks you to a desk, or clamping a portable monitor to somewhere on the Steam Deck. Okay, look, this is clearly a ridiculous rabbit hole I'm falling down. Let me start again. Valve's Steam Deck has been extended in a neat little way. For a sizable collection of video games, you'll never end up having time to play anyway, which really, isn't that what Steam is all about?
You know a friend who's finally freed themselves from Final Fantasy XIV? Good, because if you lure them back, there's something in it for you. From now until the end of September, Final Fantasy XIV is running the Callback campaign. If you invite someone back and they purchase a subscription, you get 5 gold chocobo feathers, which can be exchanged for special items like the Twintania Neuralink key, an Amber Draft chocobo whistle, a Managarm horn, or rare dye. You can do so much in Final Fantasy XIV, including pretend to work for Amway.
Amway? Really?
There are a lot of MLM companies. I just wanted to pick something easily recognizable.
The kids today aren't going to get an Amway joke.
But they will appreciate Amway's exquisite mouthfeel. Buttery soft, 2 balanced syllables. Amway.
Wow, I really wish I had that Xbox filter right now. Coming up, can't decide between Pokemon Scarlet or Violet? Well, don't buy this new Nintendo Switch because even though it features both new legendaries, Koraidon and Miraidon, on each Joy-Con, the console does not include either copy of the actual game, so really this was no help to you at all. That felt good. Yeah.
So Kathleen wrote the Final Fantasy story, but we did look up various MLMs because I think like Amway might not be, you know, hip with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, probably like Herbalife or something might be more.
Oh yeah, that's really recent.
Right?
Yeah.
But according to the website I found, Amway is still like by far the most profitable.
Is it?
Yeah, like $8 billion in annual revenue or something.
Do they also have dildo parties?
Not that I know of.
Not irrelevant to my interest then. Excellent. Have you ever been to a...
Do they even have Amway in Canada?
I don't even know how you do multi-level marketing for dildos, actually. Like, is it like
lots of lubricant.
Pyramid-shaped dildos?
Yeah. No, it's not.
I've never seen Amway in Canada.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I know we have some. I assume we have some in Canada.
Yeah.
But
I remember Watkins was a thing where you could like... But that was like selling herbs and selling spices and selling like vanilla extract and stuff. And we have like mangosteen juice. That's a thing that's like fucking everywhere.
Mangosteen?
Mangosteen.
Isn't that one of the things you can get from a golden chocobo feather?
Yeah.
Mangosteen juice?
Yeah.
Oh, managarm horn.
Close
horn.
Horm. Mammagarm horm.
Need horm.
I love horm.
A lumpy bump with knobs.
It gets us back to the dildo thing, weirdly. How about
exactly.
that?
Yeah. It's all got the juice. I'm desperately trying to think of something to change the subject.
Really?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of things to keep it rolling. Country
Yeah.
Viera make do. What do they call the Fox people again? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah. I got to say the Sony Microsoft thing was almost refreshing in its like childish console war thing. It's like, I remember this.
Yeah,
it was bad, but
If you want to talk delightful, though, that idea of being like, well, we're going to extend it for a few more years, so everyone calm down.
Yeah.
And then for Jim Ryan to be like, yeah, well, it's not that many years. Like 3 years isn't several. I'm kind of like, it is literally the definition. It is more than two, right?
Spencer said at least several.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right.
So it's like, no, they locked it down at 3. Also, it's not set in stone. And I kind of thought that then the follow to your stories and weirdly, Xbox CEO Phil Spencer came out recently and said, well, if Jim Ryan's so upset by the deal, we don't necessarily have to do it.
I'm waiting for the I'm
If
waiting
it upsets
for
him
that,
so badly, we don't have to actually have a deal at all.
But I mean, so Microsoft is worried that if they look like they're just going to hoard all the IP, then people will be like, that's a monopoly,
Yeah.
and then they won't let them do it.
They'd be like, don't
So at
keep
least
all the
for
stuff.
now,
People might have to make new video games.
Yeah, at least for now, it's to Microsoft's benefit to be like, oh, no, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. And then when the deal goes through, then they can be like, let me just claw all that back.
Yeah. Actually, that brings up an interesting thing that I'm thinking about, because to me, the first-person shooter space is largely homogenous.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe homogeneous, one of those two things. You tell me in the comments which one you think is correct. But
How many of you identify as a homogeneous?
Yes. There's going to be a few that are like, how are you spilling that beach? But the, like, Call of Duty begetting Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which then of course became just Modern Warfare on its own. But I also think of that as very much like Battlefield. Is that also a thing that is also realistic world war fighting with guns and shit? Like
that's sort of the two. That's the Coke and Pepsi.
Really, there's just two. Is there an RC Cola?
Well, Call of Duty and Battlefield are the Coke and Pepsi. There
other ones.
are ones that are the RC Cola equivalent, but those are the two.
And it's like
the two that are always seemingly they're kind of fighting. They're not really. Their fans are fighting more than they're fighting.
Absolutely.
But whatever. Yeah.
But it does make me wonder. I'm like, can you not just keep like so Call of Duty wanders off to whatever, and the studios wander off too, and it's like, okay, well we need a World War II first person shooter buddies all fighting together game again. It's like, well, there's 1,000 studios out there that I'm sure would be more than happy to make you a new one, Sony, that's just belongs to you, and you can make it put as much money into it, make it as awesome as you want, make it just yours. And I'm like, this isn't good for anybody. I mean, it's good for the developers maybe because more people are making more games, but a lot of times this stuff just really seems to be like, if you don't have your Legend of Zelda, make your own Legend of Zelda. If you don't have your own like Pokemon, make your own Pokemon. And I'm like, those things happen. It's like you never really own the best one in the market, but maybe you make one that's pretty good. I don't know. Like,
did you see? I don't think we actually talked about it last week on CheckPoint. Might have discussed it on ChillPoint, but Sony buying a big stake of FromSoft.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to get Bloodborne 2 one way or another,
right?
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
That's the general impression people are getting because it's like the majority of FromSoft is owned by FromSoft's parent company.
Yeah,
but then second place is like Tencent, and just behind Tencent is Sony.
Yeah.
So Sony's like, please keep make thing for PS5.
Yeah. And,
So-
and I'm sure they will make the thing for PS5, and the Souls people will be very happy.
Yes. Everyone will rejoice in the new Elden Ring or something.
Maybe they'll make a Souls game that's like a World War II shooter. I don't know. I don't even know how you do that.
That would be amazing. Just because I don't know what that would look like, but I would love to see them try.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, it would be... Why not mash up a few more genres, right?
I'm just going to think about that for a while.
Let that one percolate.
Have a pleasant day.